Join me as I dive into the bizarre and sometimes hilarious things our grandparents did back in the 1970s that are banned today. Can I find the weirdest ones and see if I dare to try them myself? Over the decades, society has undergone a significant transformation, and what was once considered acceptable behavior is now often viewed as taboo or even illegal. It's fascinating to explore how certain actions that were once commonplace have evolved to become unrecognizable in today's world. Our grandparents lived in a world where norms and regulations were vastly different from today. Many activities that were condoned or even encouraged back then would raise eyebrows or land you in trouble today. It's essential to acknowledge these changes to understand how our values and principles have shifted over time. The way we perceive certain behaviors has drastically changed, and it's often difficult for today's generation to comprehend what was once accepted as normal. Our grandparents' experiences shape our understanding of the world, but sometimes they can also seem like a distant, unrelatable past. One reason for this disconnect is that many historical events, cultural movements, and social norms that defined their era are now seen as outdated or even harmful. As we move forward, it's crucial to recognize and learn from the past, rather than dismissing it as irrelevant or inferior. In the 1970s, certain substances were freely available and public smoking was the norm. People shared intimate details about their personal lives without a care in the world, and digital privacy was a non-issue. In contrast, today, we live in a world where many of these activities are heavily restricted or even criminalized. For instance, it was common for people to light up cigarettes in restaurants, offices, and even on airplanes. Fast forward to today, and smoking is banned in most public places, and the dangers of secondhand smoke are well documented. Another example is the lack of digital privacy back then. With the advent of the internet, social media, and data collection, our personal information is now protected by laws and regulations. In the 1970s, people shared their addresses, phone numbers, and personal details without hesitation, unaware of the potential consequences. The 1970s were also a time when certain substances were freely available and their consumption was often condoned or even encouraged. Today, we know the devastating effects of these substances, and their possession or distribution is heavily penalized. One of the most jarring differences between the 1970s and today is the normalization of certain activities that would be considered shocking or even disturbing today. For instance, it was common for children to ride in the back of pickup trucks without seatbelts or even sit on their parents' laps while driving. Another staggering example is the lack of concern for environmental issues. The 1970s saw massive pollution, littering, and neglect for the planet's well-being. Fast forward to today, and we're witnessing a global movement to reduce our carbon footprint, recycle, and protect our environment. Perhaps the most shocking or bizarre activity that was commonplace in the 1970s is the objectification of women in advertising and media. The 1970s were a time when women were often reduced to their physical appearance, and overtly sexualized advertisements were the norm. In conclusion, societal norms have undergone a significant transformation over the decades. What was once accepted as normal is now viewed as taboo or even illegal. Understanding these changes helps us appreciate the progress we've made and serves as a reminder that our values and principles are constantly evolving. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts on these changes in the comments below, and suggest related topics you'd like to see explored in future videos.